Spotify is quietly trying to reinvent how you stumble upon your next favorite show. In its latest experiment in AI powered podcast feature, it will build personalized playlists on what you type in prompt and what you actually listen to before. Rolled out to premium users in the US, Canada, and after a test in New Zealand, this promoted playlist experience aims to mirror your moods and interests while nudging you into new shows that you might have never found on your own. Spotify says that every week, more than 34 million podcasts are discovered for the first time on its platform. And since 2019, it's been continually tweaking its podcast strategy, keep that number growing as competition for your ears intensifies. Welcome to Business Insights Daily. I'm your host, Sushank. Let's start with what this feature actually does. If you're a premium subscriber in the US or Canada, you'll be able to open Spotify, type in a short prompt, and say something like deep dive tech interviews from a commute, short music pods for breakfast, or funny light shows for a bad day. And let the system generate a tailored podcast around the idea. The engine looks at two main things: your prompt, the topics, mood, and format you say that you want, and your listening history. Just shows and episodes that you already play, follow, skip, or binge. Out of that, it assembles a dynamic episode based playlist, not just full shows, but individual episodes that you can hit play on and adjust as you go. Skip something and the system learns. Save or share something and takes it as a strong positive signal. Spotify calls this a promoted podcast feature in the sense that it can highlight certain shows and omit others. But for the users, the idea is simple. Tell us what you're in the mood for and we'll do the curating. What happens when you program your own radio station with sentences? As you should keep this question in mind. If you generate a custom talk radio style show on your own by typing a sentence, does that change what it means to be a listener or what it even means to have a show? So, how does this move from fuzzy idea, I want something smart but not too serious, to an actual playlist? Under the hood, Spotify is blending a few ingredients. Language understanding. The system has the ability to parse your prompt. What does deep dive mean versus quick hits? What counts as funny but thoughtful? AI models trained on those languages can map phrases to themes, show formats, and even pacing. User taste profiles. Spotify already has built details of your music and podcast preferences based on what you play, how you play it, how long you listen, and what to skip. That history helps the AI guess which deep dive or funny shows are likely to land for you, not just for people in general. And 3. Content metadata. This is the most important of the bunch. Episodes and shows are tagged, sometimes manually, increasingly automatically, with topics, categories, and inferred attributes like tone, complexity, and explicitness. These tags make it easier to match your request to a show that you want. The result is something like a personalized talk show, a station that can pivot quickly. One day, you might ask for entrepreneur stories that feel like how I built this. Or the next day, it might be short daily explains on global news I can finish in 20 minutes. The discovery becomes this good. What happens to the scroll? Which raises a second question. When the algorithm gets so good at handling you something compelling that fits your mood, do you spend less time scrolling and sampling and more time in a kind of curated bubble shaped by whatever system it's in? Spotify's emphasis on discovery isn't new. The scale, however, is. The company says over 34 million podcasts are discovered for the first time every week on its platforms. That's not just a big number for bragging rights. It's central to the business model. The more often somebody finds a new show they love, the more total time they can spend in the app, the more likely they are to stay subscribed to premium, and the more valuable Spotify becomes as a place for creators and advertisers. Since around 2019, Spotify has poured billions into podcasts, buying studios, signing exclusive deals, and building ad technology. And the recent years, pulling back, restructuring, and refocusing on how its formats actually drive engagement instead of just headlines. This new feature is part of that evolution, less about buying, owning every show, and more about owning the relationship between listener and the content. Think about it like this. Spotify's Discover Music Weekly and Daily Mix made app feel indispensable. In podcasts, a similar kind of just hit play personalization could do the exact same. What this means for creators. For podcasters, this kind of AI powered playlist raises both hopes and questions. On the upside, if your show fits certain niches, the system could very well surface individual episodes to listeners who may have never searched for a title directly. We are no longer comparing only at the show level. The standard episode can be in the on ramp in your work. Good metadata, clear descriptions, and consistent tone can translate into better matches with listener prompts. On the anxiety side, discovery becomes a real headache and more tied to opaque recommendation systems and prompt matching, which can be hard to influence or understand from the outside. The system leads heavily on fast behavior. Newer or more experimental shows may struggle to get slotted into people's playlists unless Spotify actively starts promoting them. Finally, creators may feel pressure to design episodes with algorithmic fit in mind mentality, certain links, hooks, or formats to improve the chances of being selected. When the playlist becomes a product, what does it leave the show? Which leads to a third question. If listeners increasingly hit play on AI curated episode streams, not on individual shows, does the concept of a podcast series lose power? And do creators need to start thinking in terms of standout episodes rather than just loyal subscribers? For listeners, the immediate upside is pretty tangible. As hunting, more listening feels right for the moment. Imagine a few scenarios. You're about to cook dinner and you type in 2 hours of uplifting entrepreneurial stories. The system strings together episodes from multiple founder focused shows. You're stressed about world events and ask for calm, clearly explained daily news that's under 15 minutes per episode. You get a mix of formats without needing to know every single brand. You're starting a new side hustle and want practical step-by-step marketing advice for beginners. The playlist pulls from diverse, sometimes niche shows to match your niche. Over time, this works well. Your relationships with podcasts can start feeling more like a relationship with playlists in music. Less about what I listen to these three shows regularly, more about I have a feed of conversations that fit my life right now. These are trade-offs though, however, because it can become harder to deliberately seek out voices or perspectives inside your algorithmically interfered comment zone. The line between editorial curation and algorithmic promotion can blur. Sponsored or promoted content may sit next to organic picks, and not everyone will notice. Serendipity changes take shape, but it's still there. But it's mediated by what you and the system have already agreed that you're into. So, I'm your host, Shashank. This is Business Insights Daily. So, the next time you open Spotify and it asks, what are you in the mood to hear? It might be worth pausing for a second. Because in that little text box is a new kind of power. The ability to shape not just your next commute soundtrack, the kinds of conversations creators you let into your daily life. Stay informed, stay ahead, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.